Welcome back to our channel. Today, we're diving into an important topic: how the Philippines can learn from Vietnam's maritime strategy to better protect its claims in the West Philippine Sea. With increasing tensions and territorial disputes in the South China Sea, it is crucial to examine how Vietnam has effectively fortified its maritime defenses and how the Philippines can apply similar tactics. Before moving forward, let's take a brief look at the history of the Philippines and Vietnam in the South China Sea. Vietnam's claim to the South China Sea dates back to the Nguyen dynasty in the 19th century, when Vietnamese rulers exerted control over the Paracel and Spratly Islands. During French colonial rule, Vietnam continued to administer these territories. After World War II, South Vietnam reaffirmed its sovereignty over these islands, which was later inherited by the Socialist Republic of Vietnam following reunification in 1975. Vietnam has maintained a strong presence, constructing military outposts and reclaiming land to bolster its territorial assertions. The Philippines, on the other hand, began formalizing its claim in the 1950s when Filipino explorer Tomas Cloma declared a portion of the Spratly Islands as Freedom Land. In 1978, then-President Ferdinand Marcos issued Presidential Decree No. 1596, officially incorporating the Calayan Island Group, KAG, into Philippine territory. The claim was further solidified through the Philippine Baselines Law and its arbitration victory in 2016, which ruled in favor of the Philippines against China's excessive claims. However, despite these legal foundations, the Philippines still faces significant challenges in asserting its sovereignty. Back to the present. Vietnam's island reclamation efforts in the South China Sea have been making headlines. According to the Asia Maritime Transparency Initiative, between November 2023 and June 2024, Vietnam reclaimed 280 hectares of new land across 10 occupied features in the Spratlys. The rapid construction includes airstrips and other infrastructure, reinforcing Vietnam's hold over these disputed waters. Vietnam's strategy is part of a long-term national policy that began in 2007, aiming to develop its coastal territories an exclusive economic zone. Unlike the Philippines, Hanoi has implemented a clear, unwavering maritime strategy, ensuring continuity despite leadership changes. Vietnam's success versus the Philippine struggles. First, lack of consistency and decisiveness in Manila. One of the biggest challenges for the Philippines is the lack of a consistent and decisive policy regarding the West Philippine Sea. Changes in political leadership often lead to shifts in priorities and strategies, preventing long-term continuity in maritime defense and island development. Vietnam, on the other hand, has had a stable and long-term maritime strategy since 2007, ensuring sustained focus on its occupied features. Second, premature announcement of red lines. Unlike Vietnam, the Philippines has openly declared its unwillingness to use force or respond militarily to China's aggressive actions. This has given China a clear understanding of Manila's limits, allowing it to push boundaries without fear of military retaliation. Vietnam, however, has been strategic in keeping its military options ambiguous, making it harder for China to predict and counter its moves. Third, fear of escalation and limited maritime assets. The Philippines has hesitated to take stronger action due to concerns over potential conflicts with China. This fear, combined with the lack of sufficient naval and Coast Guard assets, has allowed Beijing to increase its presence and harass Filipino forces. Meanwhile, Vietnam has continuously expanded and fortified its occupied features, ensuring that China cannot easily encroach upon them without facing resistance. And lastly, slow decision-making and bureaucratic delays. Manila's policy-making process is slow, with proposals taking years to be approved, funded, and implemented. By the time construction or reinforcement begins, political shifts often halt or delay projects further. Vietnam, in contrast, operates with a streamlined, state-directed approach that allows for swift decision-making and rapid infrastructure development. The Philippines must learn from Vietnam's approach and take decisive steps to fortify its own occupied islands. Here's what Manila can do. First, adopt a unified long-term policy. The government must establish a comprehensive and consistent maritime strategy that will not be derailed by changes in political leadership. Second, enhance military presence. The Philippines should bolster its maritime assets, deploy forces to key areas, and increase patrols to counter China's expansion. Third, fast-track infrastructure development. Reducing bureaucratic delays and securing funding for construction projects in the West Philippine Sea should be a top priority. And finally, strengthen alliances. Collaborating with allies like the US, Japan, and Vietnam can provide strategic and logistical support in defending its territories. Vietnam's proactive approach in the South China Sea has allowed it to consolidate its claims effectively, while the Philippines has been hindered by inconsistency and slow action. If Manila wants to secure its territories in the West Philippine Sea, it must act decisively and adopt a similar long-term strategy. The time for hesitation is over. Its time for action. That's it for today's discussion. What do you think the Philippines should do to strengthen its presence in the West Philippine Sea? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more updates on maritime defense and geopolitics. See you in the next video.